Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. If we could please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome everyone. Today is Thursday, August 20th, 2020. And this is the Town of Riverhead Planning Board work session meeting. First item on our agenda today is a discussion item for Lowe's Home Improvement for some additional outdoor storage. John Flood is the planner on this one.
Right, so the Lowe's Home Improvement Outdoor Display was an administrative site plan application submitted earlier this year for the proposed location of outdoor sales, storage, and display areas for an existing Lowe's Home Improvement Center. Last time we spoke was earlier in the year during the COVID pandemic, and there were issues raised regarding the parking, there are issues regarding the fire marshal's comments, and to date the plans have been revised to reflect the revisions, and the fire marshal has approved those changes. Currently, the staff is recommending grant administrative approval for the proposed site with just two conditions. One, the applicant shall apply for inspections to be completed by the Town of Riverhead Fire Marshals to ensure continued use of outdoor storage and sales remains in compliance with the New York State Fire Code. And the second one is that the applicant shall delineate the areas used for outdoor display, storage, and sales by striping the parking lot with an appropriate durable marking paint to reflect their locations of these areas as shown on the site plan last dated August 5th, 2020.
Okay, so the fire marshal's happy, they met all his conditions?
Correct.
You have a revised site plan?
Yep.
Is anyone on from Lowe's today?
Yes. Todd Simmons is the
Todd
engineer.
Simmons? Can Todd hear us? We bring Todd in?
Todd is there. I see no microphone or audio.
Check Charlie Cuddy.
There's also a phone. Charlie, he's on it?
Well, is Mr. Cuddy with Todd Simmons or no?
No.
No?
Yes, yes.
I believe T. Spicer is
Yes.
a Lowe's
What is that, Joe?
representative as well.
Okay,
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes, this is Travis with Lowe's. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, do you have some specific questions related to the plan?
No, we just want to make sure that you're in agreement with all the fire marshal conditions that were placed on this application, and we'd just like to hear a voice before we move on.
Yes, sir. So it sounds to me, if I'm hearing correctly, we need to paint the areas designated on the plan to house the storage in, make sure that everything's out of the fire lane, and then we do a yearly inspection with the fire marshal. And then I just want to make sure we're clear on the temporary area out in front of the garden center. So it looks like we're good there, but we apply for a special event permit every year for that area. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, sir. So we'll move forward with, upon your approval, we'll move forward with getting everything painted up like it's supposed to be. Once we get that done, get everything moved, I guess we would call for an inspection then, and then we would do a yearly inspection.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyone else from Lowe's that wants to speak that may be up there?
I think this is Todd Simmons. I think I'm unmuted now, but I think Travis covered it, and I think appreciate working with John, and just here to answer any questions you guys might have.
Did it. Okay, I think we're in good shape at this point. So unless there's any other questions from the board? No. We'll bring this up probably within the hour under a resolution vote and for administrative approval, and I don't see any issues why it won't pass.
Okay?
Okay?
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, the next item we have is Maris Farm Stand on Sound Avenue and Roanoke Avenue in Riverhead.
Okay, so the planning department has received and reviewed a farm stand application for a proposed farm stand with two porta potties, approximately 32 by 10 feet, and the parking area, 20 feet by 6 feet, gravel driveway from Sound Avenue with gravel parking area, situated along and adjacent to Sound Avenue. A two-story agricultural barn, towards the middle rear of the property, all to be served by underground utilities, a meter to be installed approximately 3 feet from Sound Avenue. The subject parcel is located at the northwest corner of the intersection of Sound Avenue and Roanoke Avenue. It is split zoned between Residence A80 and Residence A40 zoning use districts. The surrounding area is predominantly residential, with residential development located to the north and west of the proposed farm stand location. Regarding seeker, it is a type 2, so no further environmental review is required. The site currently proposes to take access from Sound Avenue via 20 feet wide curb cut located approximately 180 feet west of the intersection of Sound Avenue and Roanoke Avenue. The proposed parking area is indicated to be 4,000 square feet of Long Island beach gravel. However, it is noted that the plan does not identify the number of parking spaces which could be accommodated within this area. Staff recommends that the applicant provide a smaller scale parking lot to detail minimum of 1 inch equals 50 feet, which identifies the amount of parking proposed in a lot is allowable to provide. It should also be noted that the proposed curb cut is 20 feet wide, where town code requires a 24-foot wide curb cut, where there is a two-way access. The plans must be revised to show a 24-foot wide access point. The plans were referred to the Highway Deputy Superintendent, and in an email, he would like to see an asphalt apron along the frontage of the property with the farm stand in order to prevent dirt and gravel from being tracked into Sound Avenue on the right-of-way. The application did go before the Suffolk County Farmland Committee on February 7th, 2019, and their determination was subject to conditions as seen in the attached packet. The application was referred to the Planning Commission and comments are forthcoming. The Town of Riverhead Farmland Preservation Committee did review this, and in the letter dated October 9th, 2019, the Riverhead Farmland Preservation Committee determined that the application was not right for review, and several aspects of the application required and warranted referral to the Planning Department and Planning Board. The Farmland Preservation Committee has declined to waive site plan for the following reasons, mainly because they expressed concerns regarding site drainage, significant runoff of prime soils, and concern to traffic safety and the proximity of the intersection and existing traffic conditions plaguing Sound Avenue. Staff recommends that the applicant revise the plan to include an asphalt apron per the Deputy Highway Superintendent's comments and revise the plans to show a 24-foot wide curb cut from Sound Avenue. Staff also recommends that the applicant resubmit their application to the Suffolk County Farmland Committee for approval of the revised survey per condition number 1 of their approval dated February 7th, 2019. The applicant must demonstrate that they have satisfied the Farmland Preservation Committee's concerns regarding drainage and stormwater management runoff at the site. Upon the board's satisfaction with drainage concerns and necessary revisions to the plans, staff recommends the issuance of a conditional approval contingent upon the Suffolk County Farmland Committee's review of the widened curb cut and asphalt apron. Does the board have any questions?
So I do a couple questions that came up in reviewing this and listening to your report, John. You mentioned the October 9th Farmland Preservation Committee. So we would condition this upon it meeting their approval?
The county level approval, yes.
Okay.
Because the first condition of the county's approval was that if any changes were made to the originally approved plan,
Right.
they'd have to be brought before that level.
So, but also in the county's letter dated February 7th, conditions 23 and 25 stated that they need to submit Division of Planning as-built survey and also soil water conservation district within 1 year. So it's already beyond 1 year of that letter. So are they gonna have to reissue this?
They would have to re-review the project, yes.
So then we would assume that it would be from within 1 year of their re-review.
Correct.
Okay. Last question I have is the drainage calculations from Young and Young. It's in a letter format.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that, I'm not challenging the calculations at all, but I'm not sure if that's sufficient enough without a PE stamp on it.
Okay.
We can get that done.
Okay.
John, is the proposed driveway right across the street from Schmidt's?
Correct.
Okay, so that's far enough from the intersection, it's not gonna be a problem.
There was one other comment that I needed to clarify. Oh, yeah, well, you brought it up, the basis for the farmstead based on what they had growing there in the greenhouse, the size of it.
Yes.
So how are they gonna address that? Maybe Mr. Cuddy could.
Well, he has, mature lavender already.
Mhm.
I don't know if the trees are producing yet, but the lavender has certain portions that are mature already.
So, as long as we can have that answered, I mean,
Okay.
it's pointed out to us, we can't ignore it, I don't think we can. And
John?
there's probably a good answer for it.
Yeah, on a personal note, my property backs up to his, and he runs a really nice operation, and, he's a great neighbor, so any consideration, I think, would be adding a good person to the town.
John, the figure 1, the yellow area, that is the 5 acres, they're gonna retain that, is that it?
Yes, that parcel is remained, retained,
Okay.
5 acres, yes.
And the farm stand itself will be closer to Sound Avenue, I
Yeah, it'll be
assume?
right along Sound Avenue.
Right, okay. Competition.
Any further questions from the board?
That's all about.
No, so, as long as those requirements are met, we can move forward.
Okay.
Any other questions from the board?
No.
Okay,
No, we appreciate you going through it, thank you.
thank you.
They had a violation, too.
Yeah, I guess they opened
Is
before.
that lady waiting to speak about it?
You know,
Is
when
there
it was
someone else
referred
up
to
there that we
Suffolk
can
County
unmute?
Planning,
Do we know what
It was
that?
referred about 2 weeks ago.
They cannot
Or
mute
just
themselves?
Yes, okay.
Just ask if anybody.
Any other comments from anyone that's joined us on the Zoom portion? No? Okay. Next item on the agenda is the chapter 219 for Gontar residents. Did I say that right?
Yep, Guntar.
Okay, John.
Right, so the planning department has received and reviewed a chapter 219 coastal erosion hazard line permit application to construct a 3-foot wide timber stairway with landings from the top of bluff to the toe of the bluff located seawards of the coastal erosion hazard line. With regards to SECR, it's an unlisted action, and coordinated review is optional and not recommended. The project site is located at 58 Crescent Court, Wading River, New York, on the northern side of Crescent Court, located within the RB 80 zoning use district, on a 1.77 acre parcel. The site is presently improved with a 2-story single-family home with a 2-door attached garage, covered front porch, roof over rear cement patio, and in-ground pool. The application requires and has received the New York State Tidal Wetlands permit. And in a memo dated July 17, 2020, the town's consulting engineer had no objection taken to the proposed improvements, and engineering approval is recommended conditioned upon the following: that an engineered design detail for the stairway and landings that is signed and sealed by a New York State licensed professional engineer shall be submitted with the building application. The detail shall specify the size of all timber members, including the overall and penetration length of the pilings. At this time, staff recommends that the planning board classify the action as unlisted, assume lead agency without the need for coordinated review, issue a negative declaration, and grant approval for the construction of a 3-foot wide timber stairway with landings from the top of the bluff to the toe of the bluff, with the following conditions: that they shall not commence any construction activity seaward of the top of bluff between April 1st and April 31st in order to avoid an incidental take permit per the New York State DEC for piping plover in the least term. That prior to the issuance of a building permit, the following conditions shall be satisfied: that they should submit an engineered detail for the stairway per the comment of the consulting engineer. The contractor shall enter into a hold harmless agreement through the town attorney's office for beach access for construction. contractor shall secure a staging area and identification agreement for the use of the town beach access point located at Holst Landing Road. The contractor shall demonstrate how they will cross the beach seaward of the mean high water mark, and the contractor shall obtain written permission from the town Riverhead Highway Superintendent. The contractor shall also document pre-construction conditions and shall agree to remediate and repair any damage to Holst Landing Road caused by the staging, and that the applicant will schedule an appointment with the town Riverhead environmental planner to conduct a site inspection and verify the installation of erosion control measures. Does the board have any questions?
Yeah,
John.
John, I'm sorry. My usual question, does this inhibit the public access to the beachways or waterways in any way, shape, or form?
No, per the town attorney, when they go to make their hold harmless and identification agreement, they're not allowed to access the beach until after the beach season has ended.
Thank you.
So John, I mean, this is a pretty steep slope here. It looks like they're going from about 120 feet elevation down to sea level. I imagine that's why they're zigzagging like that.
Yes.
And I see that they have some bench landings there, I guess, to take a break while they're
Yeah.
climbing up. So, the clearing that's required, looking at your aerial, it looks like it's vegetated, the bluff.
Yes.
So have any erosion prevention measures been identified for when they actually build this and have to, clear it?
I can ask that question to the applicant, Tom Wolbert, he's representing the applicant at this time. But they're not proposing at this time any, erosion control measures. I think it's just more for control to prevent when they're doing construction, so nothing gets contaminated in the wetland.
Have you been to the site, John?
No.
It's pretty steep. It just, I would imagine they'd have to do some clearing to do their work. So I think it's worth asking the question.
Okay.
Just a general question.
I
How-
agree.
How are they building it, from the beach up or from the top of the bluff down?
I'm not sure what their methods of construction are, but that's something I can ask the applicant and relate to the board.
I would think it would be from the beach up rather than down. Putting those piles in at each of the landings is gonna be quite an effort.
If the goal is to start in the middle.
Good, yeah, and then work both ways, right?
You and I could say that.
Yeah, right.
So I see that, any other questions on this, 219? So I see the next application is the neighbor.
Yes, it's neighbor,
Is that a coincidence, or are they doing this together, or?
It's the owner of this property also owns that property as well.
Okay.
So I think it's the original name that was on the application when it came in from the former neighbor.
Okay. All right, so we could move to that one, which is, item 4. Curcio? Which? how do you say- Curcio. Chapter 219, right next door to the one we just spoke about on Crescent Court, Wading River.
Right, so this is a chapter 219 application to construct approximately 172 linear feet of rock revetment, design a 15-foot return on the easterly terminus, and placement of approximately 1,033 cubic yards of compatible sand material. The project includes bluff stabilization and maintenance work involving the installation of timber terracing and the planting of beach grass. With regards to SECR, it's unlisted and coordinated review is optional and is not recommended. The site is located at 48 Crescent Court in Wading River, on the northern side of Crescent Court, located in the RB80 zoning use district, on a 2-acre parcel. The site is presently improved with a 2-story single-family residence with 2-car attached garage, covered front entry, rear wood deck, and a second-floor rear deck and in-ground swimming pool with a heater. The application requires and has received the New York State Tidal Wetlands Permit. In the memo dated April 6, 2020, the town's consulting engineer had no objection taken to the proposed improvements, and engineering approval is recommended, noting the following: that the tax map parcel lot number is 74.6 and not 74.5. Staff recommends that the planning board classify the actions unlisted, assume lead agency without the need for coordinated review, issue a negative declaration and grant approval for the construction of approximately 172 linear feet of rock revetment the 15-foot return on the easterly terminus, and the placement of 1,033 cubic yards of sand material with the following conditions: that they shall not commence any construction between April 1st and August 31st per New York State DEC, as it would lead to an incidental take of the piping flow and least turn endangered species. That prior to the issuance of a building permit, the following conditions shall be satisfied. The applicant shall obtain a Chapter 229 excavation and grading permit from the town board for the importation of 1,033 cubic yards of compatible clean beach sand from an upland source and adhere to the following: provide a certification letter certifying that the sand is from a clean and approved upland source, signed and sealed by a New York State licensed professional engineer. The other condition is that they shall amend the survey to reflect the consulting engineer's comments to change the lot number to 74.6 and not 74.5. They shall enter into a hold harmless agreement through the town attorney, an identification agreement for access to the town beach, and shall obtain written permission from the town road highway superintendent for the use of Holt's Landing Road. And the contractor shall document the pre-construction conditions of Holt's Landing Road and shall schedule an appointment with the town riverhead environmental planner to verify the installation of erosion control measures.
John, same question on my 219s. Does it impede the public's access in any way to use the public beaches?
No construction will be done until after the beach season has ended.
Thank you.
The permit that the DEC issued on October 1st, 2019, how long is that good for?
It's good for approximately 5 years.
Okay.
There's a note on the plan that says bluff restoration. And I know you noticed about the sand being brought in, so they're actually gonna vegetate the bluff itself.
Yes. They're
Which
gonna terrace and bluff, vegetate the bluff with beach grass.
Hmm.
Does the board have any other questions?
Anything else? Okay. Thanks, John. Greg, you get off easy today?
Yes, no Greg Berkman show today.
All right, good job, John, thank you. All right, no scheduled public hearings today. Any comments from the public on resolutions? Is there anyone up there that wants to address the board before we vote on resolutions? Okay.
I'll move resolution, number 25, which is for the Lowe's Home Improvement Center outdoor display, storage and sales.
Second the motion?
Motion made and seconded to approve resolution 25 for Lowe's Home Improvement outdoor storage. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 25 is approved.
I'll move resolution number 53 for the Guntar Residence, Chapter 219, so moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve resolution 53, chapter 219 for the Guntar residence. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution is approved.
I'll move resolution 54 for the Curcio residence at chapter 219. So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve resolution 54 for the Curcio, chapter 219. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution is approved. Oh, that was the last one, okay. Any public comment on any matter in front of the planning board? We still have someone with us on the meeting, so is she unmuted?
She can unmute herself.
If you could unmute yourself, you should be able to speak.
Hello, can you
Yes,
hear me?
hello? Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, my name is Maureen Tobin. I live in Stoneleigh Woods, and my property is to the rear of the GenDOT construction behind me. I realize that the town has a rule about keeping a buffer zone of trees, and that the planning board had come and tagged trees to be saved. Unfortunately, 3 of the trees that were tagged to be saved are down now. One in the storm that fell a nanosecond from my house, scraped my dining room window, a huge tree. And in doing so, it damaged two others that were tagged to be saved, and the dead tree, which I've been trying to get taken down forever. I would like to support GenDOT in their efforts to have this situation in the back revisited with the trees that have been tagged to be saved. I can see some of them will be a threat to the houses he's building, as these were a threat to mine. I don't know if they're going to reapply. I would hope they would for their sake. But I just wanted to say that some of the residents who are backing on the property are all in favor of this situation being remedied by revisit of some of these trees, which really shouldn't be saved.
Okay, I believe you sent a letter also?
I did. In the situation where the trees were leaning, and I prayed every night that they wouldn't fall, I had sent a letter to Greg. He graciously came and surveyed the situation and immediately said that it was necessary for them to come down, and he contacted GenDOT and Mr. Zumas and another fellow, Mark, and GenDOT couldn't have been more helpful in securing, and at a time when it was hard to secure someone to take down the trees because of all the other issues around town with trees that had fallen. And I wanted to thank Greg for it, and I wrote a letter, and in it I mentioned some of these trees and the possibility of the situation being revisited.
Okay, so.
This is Middle Road?
Yeah, Middle Road. So, as I understand it, the safety issue has been mitigated at this point, and now
Yes.
the question remains for the remainder of the buffer. Some may be dead, some may be, susceptible to come down in a future storm. So, can we resurvey it and ask the developer to take a look, and anything that you agree on with him can be removed, and submit a re-landscaping plan for that area, because we just don't wanna leave it open.
Correct, yes, I did advise, Mrs. Tobin that the process would need to be initiated by the Country Woods Development, as those trees are on their property, and they are within that required buffer. As she said, right after the storm, I did go out, she had called me, I went out, there was a tree that had fell very close to her house, and there were 3 individual trees kind of in a clump by themselves. I went out with Brian, the new planning aide, and I spoke with Jeff Murphy. We made the call just based on the immediate safety and the threat that was posed, that those 3 individual trees did not create a significant vegetative buffer, being that they were right behind her house. She would be the only resident who would be directly impacted, so we made that call in-house. After that, she had raised the issue, like she stated, about an additional buffer. I have not surveyed that buffer. I do not know specifically the number of trees, how many to be, would be removed. But I did advise her, just to come speak, raise the concern before the board. It would require GenDOT to submit an amended application, and, we would recommend that they specifically flag any trees to be removed, and provide some sort of supplemental vegetation to replace that which is lost.
When we had the public hearing that approved this project, did many of the residents from Stoneleigh Woods come out and speak?
There were, I'm sorry.
Hi, Jeff Murphy for the record. There were, and one of the big concerns, Stan, was the fact of the buffer between the 2 projects. And I believe there was a requirement to put an evergreen screening behind it.
Okay, so my only hesitation, and it's not opposition, is that we hear from more residents that are directly impacted from this, because I'd hate to say yes to take down most of the buffer if someone deems it not safe, and then they take offense to that. So I don't know if there's an association there, but if there's a way we could reach out to some of the people and just get their okay, or input at least, before we go removing all.
Correct.
Okay.
And I did advise Mrs. Tobin of that it would surely support the board's decision if there were residents of that community who expressed support, namely the ones that would be directly impacted, who live right against that buffer. So I did advise her of that. And I believe Mr. Zumas is on the call. He had emailed me earlier this afternoon. I advised him that he's free to just listen in. The board's not gonna render any decisions on just hypotheticals without seeing an actual plan in front of us. But if he has any comments, I would, advise him that he can present the board too.
I got a question, Greg. Is there is there going to be additional vegetation put along there to meet the landscaping plan, which hasn't been done yet, I assume?
Yes, there is a landscaping plan that was approved for that buffer area.
Right.
I don't know specifically the additional area that they're talking to be removed. I don't know specifically what vegetation is in that area. But again, that's
But
something
there will be something.
Yes,
planted.
there will be plantings, you know, if they didn't cut anything down, there will be plantings placed in that area. Yes.
Okay. All right, so thank you.
Just want to say something, Greg, did you get a call from Mr. Gerasi? He's one of the neighbors, Mr. Gerasi, and, he said he was going to call and, you know, registered his support for taking down some of these trees, and we have another, Mr. Zimmer, also they're nervous about some of the trees. Some of them are on Stoneley's property, and we'll have to deal with them, but, you know, on Stoneley's side of the border there, but,
I did receive that call from Mr. Gerasi, and I mean, again, you know, while that would kinda, I'm sure that would help the board in any decision that would be rendered, you know, that those comments really, if GenDOT makes the application, that support should be submitted at that time.
okay, so the ball is in their court then. I just
Correct.
wanted to support them if they chose to do so.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you. All right, anyone else from the public? No one else is out there, so,
I'll make a motion that we move the, August sixth planning board meeting minutes, so
motion made and seconded to approve the minutes for August sixth. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We do have some other business. Jefferson?
Yeah. So as you recall, HK Ventures, will require them to prepare an environmental impact statement pursuant to SECRA. We can, retain the services of an outside consultant or consultants to help us review that at the applicant's expense. Given our current staffing level, we recommend that the planning board, hire an outside, consultant to help us in the review. I believe the applicant has no choice in the matter, but I think in this case, given the current staffing levels, is actually gonna help them out in terms of expediting our review of the application. Trying to find an applicant consultant qualified to do the review has been, difficult, and Stan's been very helpful, and actually, I've worked with, an engineer up Island, I hate to say up Island, and I got their VDA, which I forwarded to all of you in terms of firms, consultant, or, their resumes of all the different staff levels. I spoke with Nora Brew, she's one of the principals, she's a licensed PE. I just received a copy of their proposal, I'm gonna give a copy to you now. This is on the low side because it only includes one set of reviews, it doesn't include the whole SECRA review process. We have to charge the applicant the full fee up front, so I have to go back and work with her on amending the fee, but at least this will give you an idea of the firm. It's called Walden, Environmental Engineering. They're based out of Oyster Bay. I did check with, not so much their references, but other people that work in those areas to see if they've worked with them, and they know of them. I heard nothing bad back. So, my recommendation is that we, recommend to the town board, because they're the ones who would have to hire them, there's no cost to the town, is that, if you agree with me, we'll get Stan to send a letter to the town board on behalf of the planning board recommending the hiring of Walden Engineering. I can give you a copy of the proposal now.
So the difficulty in finding someone was, you know, we wanted somebody that isn't really involved with any other projects in town, or that isn't working for the town. So this company is totally independent of any work or any projects going in front of us or the town board or any other engineering firms. So this is who we came up with, and Jefferson did the research, to check the references and background information provided. And as long as it's okay with the rest of the board, we could officially recommend that the town retain them for this review.
Thank you,
Now,
sir.
the one thing they do not do, let me just hit a microphone so they can hear me. One area of, that they do not do is traffic engineering. We do have a traffic engineer, LK McQueen Associates, that's, one of the sub-consultants on the comprehensive plan update. I recommend that we retain them to do the traffic, review of this project. We did get comments back from DOT on it. and we need some expertise on our side to, DOT's comments were not helpful. So my recommendation is that we also, use, McLean Associates to do the traffic engineering, analysis. Again, there's no cost to the town on it.
It was pretty impressive.
Okay, motion to make the recommendation?
I'll make the motion that we make the recommendation.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
So Stan, I'll prepare a letter for your signature, and we'll
Yeah.
send it to the town board.
So I had asked, I think last meeting, I really would like to have this, scheduled timeline laid out for us, because I know some of the deadlines are time sensitive. As when things need to be posted and when we need to have the hearings. And I just want everyone to be aware, and also the consultant to be aware of our deadlines and when they have to appear in front of us.
I did prepare that timeline, I did distribute it to the board. Now that we've got our consultant, the recommendation to retain them, I will forward them that timeline. Just for the board's knowledge, the positive declaration and scoping session notice was sent to the DEC Environmental News Bulletin. That will be posted in the next week's news bulletin. We will be preparing the post and publish notice to be distributed to the local newspapers. We'll reach out to the local papers just to prepare, and we want to get public comment on this. So we will be following that timeline.
Okay?
And I believe we have September 17th we are gonna schedule that public scoping session.
Okay. Terrific. Anything else from the board today?
Anything more for me?
No, thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next meeting is Thursday, September 3rd at 7 PM. Thank you.
I'm gonna go.